Upper Michigan, this is your TV6 Early News.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Steve Asplund. It's a 1-2 punch from Old Man Winter. Lots of wet, heavy snow and wind causing accidents and knocking out power. The story on our first winter storm tonight. Bond proposal defeated. The Marquette School Board meets in special session to decide their next move concerning Bothwell Middle School. The Honor Flight, a special program for veterans, bringing them to Washington, D.C. to visit the memorials, the first of 3 segments tonight. Basic First Aid, your Facebook story tonight, what you should learn and where to get the training. Your TV6 Medical Minute and Dr. Michael Grossman talks about type 1 diabetes.
Weather Center 6, I'm Carl Bonak. The storm pulls out. Find out what's behind it for the end of the weekend in a few minutes.
I'm Mike Ludlam. In sports, 5 NMU hockey players face misdemeanor charges related to stealing bicycles, and it's a Division I golfer from Manistee.
And packing up care packages for the troops. It's all next on your news on TV6.
For Upper Michigan, Steve Aspel, Carl Bonak Weather, and Mike Ludlam Sports. This is your TV6 Early News.
It's Upper Michigan's first snowfall and storm this season, and it's a big, messy one. Wet, heavy snow, strong winds are sending vehicles into ditches, causing all kinds of travel problems tonight. Now this afternoon, this was the scene of an accident that happened on Saginaw Street in Ishpeming. Ishpeming City Police say they believe the vehicle struck a tree and rolled over. The vehicle was heavily damaged and trapped one person inside. They had to be extricated from the vehicle and then transported to Bell Hospital. The person's name has not been released or their condition. Police say they believe the driver was traveling too fast for conditions. Now the snow is heavy, wet, and it is causing roads to be packed down with slush. It's a real problem for drivers. The roads are slick, vehicles are sliding off the roads. Traffic is down to a crawl on many highways, especially US 41 from Negaunee Township to Ishpeming. The US 41 Teal Lake Hill is literally in gridlock right now as vehicles cannot get up the hill due to slippery conditions. Traffic is backing up in both directions. High winds are also knocking down trees and taking power lines with them. Emergency crews are stretched to the limit, as are tow truck crews. If you don't need to be out tonight, stay in and off the roads. Carl, this is what most of us would not expect to see for the first snowfall of the season. What a dangerous mess tonight.
That's for sure, and to see snow, our first measurable snow turn into a major storm, that's kind of unusual. Maybe if you're a snow lover, that bodes well. Of course, everybody not getting the storm. Check out what's going on. We have winter storm warnings in effect tonight for the central Upper Peninsula, from Alger County inland from the lake to Baraga, also Iron and Dickinson. That's in white. Many different varieties of colors here. Windy weather toward the Straits and an advisory for snow. Lake effect in Gogebic and Ontonagon County. Ironwood has had no snow at all, as a matter of fact. And what we've got, well, we've got the snow now over the central Upper Peninsula. Rain still in the east, and we expect this to gradually move out. We can also already see evidence of that in northeastern Wisconsin. Snowfall amounts, none again in Ironwood. 1.1 from our weather watcher at Ewan, a mix at Copper Harbor. 2.2 at Chatham, none at Newberry. 6.6 at Herman, I should say at the National Weather Service site. A late report of 8 inches of snow at Herman in Baraga County. 34 Marezitos and Marquette. North wind, a falling barometer. Our Portage Health Houghton Hancock weather cam shows the snow. We'll talk about this system and what's ahead in a few minutes.
Thanks a lot, Carl. And for any school closings due to the weather tomorrow morning, you can check out our website at uppermichigansource.com. Also, the latest on your TV6 Morning News with Vicki Crystal at 5:30 a.m., 4:30 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. And if you have events that are scheduled for tonight, many have been canceled, so please, if you can, check ahead before you head out. Well, voters said no to the Marquette Area Public Schools' $29 million bond proposal in yesterday's election. The district says the bond would have improved school conditions. However, it also would have increased taxes. 3,522 district residents voted against the bond in comparison to only 1,605 supporters. If the bond had passed, MAPS would have closed the Bothwell Middle School and constructed a new middle school wing on the Marquette High School campus. MAPS board members are disappointed the bond didn't pass, but at their meeting today, they said they're not giving up on it.
What the vote tells us is we have to go back to the drawing board, which we will, and see how we can make things happen for the district and for our students.
District officials say they plan to revisit the issue in the new year and may hire a survey company in the spring to get the community some feedback. Well, the FCC and FEMA successfully completed a test on the National Emergency Alert System this afternoon. The test, which looked like this, took place at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central Time, and lasted less than a minute. State and local EAS tests already occurred on a weekly or monthly basis, but this is the first end-to-end test of the nationwide emergency alert system. TV6 and Fox UP aired the test. Well, it's estimated nearly 1,000 U.S. World War II veterans die every day, taking their stories to the grave. In September, the very first UP Honor Flight took off from Escanaba. It's a non-profit trip funded entirely by donations that transports veterans free of charge to Washington, D.C. to finally see those memorials. TV6 was able to go along for the flight, and as Veterans Day draws closer, we'll be featuring our local heroes in a special series. TV6's Nikki Davidson reports.
It's been more than 65 years since the war ended. Old photos and history books or black and white films remain the only images most of us have of a heroic yet nightmarish time in history. But for a group that's dwindling in numbers each day, the memories, the stories, the images are much more real.
There's worse things than being shot at. It's seeing the people suffering, seeing all the damage, seeing old people and kids laying in the street burned and dying. You never forget that.
I was with the B-29s in India. We had 4 bases there, and we'd fly the hump and bomb Japan. You belong to the government, and you want to do the best for your country. That's all. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts. You do it.
They came a long way, and with the UP Honor Flight, 80 veterans were able to come just a little bit further to the nation's capital decades later to remember and say goodbye.
After you go by the cemetery and see all those bodies, it's overwhelming. See all the cemetery plots, crosses.
A farewell that's been a long time coming for veterans like Bob Custer. He served for 3 different military campaigns, from World War II to Korea, and finally Desert Storm.
It won't be forgotten, that's for sure. It's heart-rending.
They're pillars of bravery, strength, and real patriotism. But many couldn't escape tears after a simple thank you and hug from friends, family, and even strangers, the very people they gave it all for.
Thinking of yourself isn't the biggest thing. That isn't what I remember. I think of the suffering of other people, the ones that have no way of defending themselves.
Nikki Davidson, TV6 News, Washington, D.C.
Our Honor Flight series will continue tomorrow when TV6's Nikki Davidson gives us a look at 3 women, veterans, that were able to make that same trip. Well, the United Way of Delta County has a campaign goal of $250,000, and so far they've raised a little more than $120,000. The campaign wraps up at the end of December. Executive Director Julie Mallard is working to reach businesses and individuals who have yet to contribute. Most of the donations come from workplace campaigns. 15 nonprofit organizations in Delta County, like Big Brothers Big Sisters and the Salvation Army, receive United Way funding. Mallard says she hopes more people donate whatever they can, not just this holiday season, but throughout the year. Well, our Facebook story of the day takes a look at basic first aid. What should you know and how do you learn it? Well, the first steps to first aid are the 3 C's: check, call, and care. Check the victim to see what is wrong and then call 911. When it comes time to caring for a victim, you can learn how to treat wounds, allergic reactions, choking, and injuries from a basic first aid accreditation course. Instructors say the more certified in basic first aid, the better.
Everybody should know first aid. You don't have to be a police officer. You don't have to be a trained medical professional in any way, shape, or form. You're going to utilize the basic first aid training on family members, on friends. You could also utilize it on a random person that is in need of first aid assistance on the street.
Northern Michigan University's Recreation Center offers basic first aid training courses the 3rd Saturday of every month. To find a certification course in your area, contact your local Red Cross. Here are your Facebook story selections for tomorrow. First, snowplows. What does it take to drive a snowplow for the county? Second, healthy holiday eating. What are some of the healthy holiday eating tips that will help you avoid overindulging this season? And third, park rangers in the winter. What do national and state park rangers do during the winter months? Go to the TV6 Facebook page and vote for your favorite story. Your TV6 Medical Minute is straight ahead, and tonight the doctor is talking about type 1 diabetes. And though the diagnosis may sound dire, there's no reason a person cannot lead a normal long life. The story is next. And then later, the American Cares program, helping the American troops serving overseas. How you can help following sports on your TV6 Early News.
Over the age of 1. It's diagnosed with a constellation of symptoms, including increased urination, excessive thirst, and often weight loss. Fasting blood sugar is usually greater than 125. Random blood sugar is greater than 200, but often is much higher. The cause of type 1 diabetes is beta cell failure in the pancreas, causing decreased insulin secretion. As a result, the treatment for type 1 diabetes is always with injectable insulin and never with pills. Control is very important in type 1 diabetes, and frequent monitoring is recommended, as well as matching insulin with food choices. From personal experience, I can tell you that having a child with type 1 diabetes can be scary. Please know, however, that with good medical care and parenting, lots of love, your child can have a healthy and happy childhood, as well as living a long and productive life. For TV6's Medical Minute, this is Dr. Michael Grossman.
And your TV6 Medical Minute can be seen every Wednesday right here on your TV6 Early News. The Marquette County Health Department is conducting a community health assessment with the help of Bell Hospital and Marquette General. The assessment helps pinpoint the biggest health concerns in Marquette County, including obesity, disease, and access to care. This afternoon, more than 40 representatives from community organizations attended a forum where they were asked for input on local health problems.
And based on our data, they're going to let us know what priorities we should be focusing on, both at the health department, hospital level, as well as the community.
The last community health assessment like this was conducted 10 years ago, and since then health concerns have changed. If you were not able to attend today's health forum, you can still fill out an assessment on local health concerns by visiting our website at uppermichigansource.com and then clicking on the news story. The snowstorm should be winding down tomorrow, but what's coming our way next, and what about your weekend? TV6 meteorologist Carl Bonek has your detailed forecast and storm track next. A downer of a day on Wall Street with the Dow losing 389, the NASDAQ dropping 105. The losses coming after Italy's borrowing costs soared and talks collapsed in Greece on forming a new government. Gold prices off $8, ending at $1,791 an ounce, and crude oil prices falling $1.06, closing at $95.74 a barrel. There's a look at today's most active issues and stocks of local interest.
Across the Upper Peninsula, temperatures right around that critical freezing mark, and where it's snowing the heaviest, that's where the temperatures are the coolest. 32 at Lance, 33 Iron River, Iron Mountain, Florence, still 37 at Newberry, 36 Munising, 34 at Escanaba and Menominee. And across the rest of the Great Lakes, temperature of 62 in the warm sector at Detroit, actually 42 on the west end of Lake Superior, where there was no snow at all today at Duluth. You can see how the storm progresses to the north-northeast, and we're right in the cold sector of the storm with heavy snow. And you can see that low had moved up near Chicago early this morning. It's now heading toward Straits, and it'll continue to work off to the northeast during the night. Temperatures upstream seasonably cold, and that's the air we'll have to deal with tomorrow. Again, this is the main show. You can see how that area of precipitation starting to shrink, so we expect the southwestern UP to get out of it early this evening, and then that trend will spread to the north. Tomorrow, a brisk west to northwest wind. Look for some snow showers, some accumulation finally around Ironwood late tonight, early tomorrow morning, and probably east of Munising, at least away from the lake shore. Weak Clipper approaches on Friday, maybe a bit of light snow, especially in the northern UP. And on Saturday, new trough starts to develop out to the west. South winds will increase. That means another modest warm-up. Back with more in a moment. Well, temperatures early tomorrow from the 20s into the 30s, and then in the afternoon, 30s to near 40 degrees. Your forecast tonight, the snow will wind down from south to north with total accumulations approaching a foot, especially in the highest elevations to the west of Marquette and the east of Lance, much less elsewhere. Lows from the 20s to the 30s, brisk winds. Then for tomorrow, look for mainly cloudy skies, some snow showers in the western snow belts under west to northwesterly wind, and also from east of Munising on to the east, highs from the middle 30s to around 40. Your TV6 day forecast. Look for high temperatures in the 30s on Friday with that little clipper coming by, then 40 into the 40s again over the weekend. So this probably isn't the snow cover that'll last for the winter, because it does look like, as you can see, fairly mild conditions into next week.
Yeah, I was looking for a little fluffier snow than this heavy wet
Well, that's
stuff.
what happens
Wow.
at this time of the year.
Yeah, it is. All right. Thanks a lot, Carl. Your sports is next, and tonight, the story on 5 NMU hockey players in trouble with the law. Plus, the Division I college team will be having a golfer from Manistee on its team this coming year. TV6's Mike Ludlam has those stories, plus a lot more next in sports when your TV6 Early News continues.
Good evening, everyone. 5 Northern Michigan University freshman hockey players have a December 6th trial date in Marquette County District Court. The 5 are charged with stolen property, receiving and concealing in connection with the theft of bicycles on campus, and the charges are misdemeanors. The 5 are 20-year-old Jake Baker, 19-year-old Mitch Jones, 19-year-old Dylan Walchuk, and 18-year-old Eric Walker, all from British Columbia, Canada, and 21-year-old Dan Vandercook of downstate Farmington Hills. 4 are charged with receiving and concealing stolen goods between $200 and $1,000. Walchuk is charged with receiving and concealing stolen goods under $200. Attorney George Hyde is representing the 5 men. These charges are separate from actions being taken by NMU. The hockey players are currently going through a university student disciplinary review process, and they'll face an athletic review committee. A jury trial is set for December 6th in district court. An Upper Peninsula High School golfer has signed a national letter of intent with a Southeastern Conference University. Mike Nagy of Manistee put his name on the solid line in a ceremony in the school's auditorium. Nagy finished in the top 10 of all 4 of the North American Junior Golf Association tournaments he entered last summer. He was second at the Randy Wise AJGA event in Warwick Hills at Grand Blanc. He already has qualified for the Michigan Amateur Tournament twice. Nagy has been a UP Division I golf medalist twice. Choosing Tennessee was an easier choice than you would think.
Good job, Mike.
Went down there and I really liked it. All the people and just the whole facility, the golf program and the academics. I just kind of fell in love with it when I went down there. SEC has got some really good players now, like teams like Florida and Alabama. They're up there at the top.
Nagy has a 4.11 grade point average at Manistee. He hopes to study business at Tennessee. He's believed to be the first scholarship Division I college athlete from Manistee since UP Sports Hall of Famer Ron Rubik went to Michigan State for football back in 1961. In the Ishpeming West Iron County Football District Final, the Hematite sophomore quarterback Alex Brion is fired downfield to Giuseppe Bertuzzi for a 45-yard TD strike. This play grabbed 53% of the nearly 325 votes to be the winner. Forest Park's Jeff Johnson took a pitch and threw it to Jed Mongot for a touchdown. The Trojans won 42-21 over North Dickinson. That play collected 27%. The play you just saw was a Tanner Mako to Bobby Brown touchdown from Menominee. That was third. If you have some video that could be used as a TV6 Play of the Week nomination, you can go to our website at uppermichigansource.com.
And don't forget about the tickets for the Packers game.
Yep, a couple days away. Hurry up and get there.
All right, Friday we're pulling the winner.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Mike. We'll be right back. Finally tonight, the Munising American Hotel is collecting items to send to troops overseas this Friday. It's an easy and creative way to thank active troops for their service on Veterans Day. It's called the American Cares Program, and it's a widespread outreach that will touch the lives of thousands of soldiers across the world. Locals can bring the items they wish to donate to the Munising American anytime during business hours. There's no limit on what you can bring, and don't worry about the packaging.
I'm addicted to photography, and I thought it would be neat to send a camera to a troop so that they could document their stay wherever they're stationed and have those memories for a lifetime.
Everything gets packaged and shipped off on Friday. That's the news. Up next, NBC and Brian Williams. Good night.